Hey guys, Shadow here, and in this video I'll walk you through my solo fight against Kharabak. I will advise you on what gear to use for the fight, so it's easier for you. I will talk about her abilities, how to deal with them, mention any bugs, give you tips and tricks, as well as share my overall opinion on the encounter and my strategy for killing her. Please remember to thumbs up this video if you have liked it, found it useful, or you have learned something from it. Comment on it if you want to say hi, give me a friendly advice, tell me what I can improve in future videos, or give out any other sort of feedback. Share it as you see fit, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitch for more Dauntless content. If you're only interested in Kharabak's abilities, you can check my Kharabak's abilities guide in the description down below or by clicking the card link in the upper right corner of this video. Now, before I start, I would like to say good job to every one of you who has gotten up to this point either solo or with a group. It does not matter, because it's a stretch of Dauntless which you have almost completed and only a tiny bug stands in your way now. The Bug Queen Kharabak is the final behemoth of tier 4 and the first airborne behemoth you will face. She is definitely a worthy encounter for the last spot, because what awaits you after is only getting harder and harder, but we'll talk about that in the upcoming videos. For now, let's focus on the behemoth at hand. As I mentioned, Kharabak is indeed a difficult encounter, but not an impossible one. She takes 3rd place after Pangar and Hylian because of the way her abilities transition into each other and because of her debuffs. Unlike other behemoths in tier 4, Kharabak has a weakness towards both shock and blaze, so you can use either type of weapons. This means Naizaga, Stormclaw and Hylian weapons are your best choices against her, but I recommend the Naizaga and Stormclaw weapons even further because of the extra shock staggering, which you will need against her. Trust me, keeping her in one place is harder than you think. I also prefer fast weapons against her, like the sword and chain blades, followed by a war pike. The reason for this is her chaotic movements and abilities, which will cause hammer and axe users to struggle a bit with timing their attacks. The armor I used to face her this time was a fully upgraded Stormclaw armor, and I highly suggest you to get as much armor rating as possible before you go for Kharabak. She deals only pure damage and does not have any elemental attack, however, she can inflict wounded debuff on you, which brings me to my second suggestion. Put as many bloodless cells in your gear as possible. I highly suggest to make them free so that you can get full immunity to her wounded debuff and not to worry about it during the whole fight. If you cannot, however, I will now explain to you how wounded debuff works. Certain attacks will inflict the debuff on you. When that happens, you'll get a stacking damage on you, which will be dealt once you drain your stamina. I do not know for sure if there's an upper limit, but you can be sure that the ability can one-shot you from full HP down to 0. The way to deal with this is easy. The first one is to not let your stamina drain to 0 until the debuff expires. Once it expires, you will not receive any damage. The second one is to use an ether heal, which will dispel the debuff that hurt, and final one is to use a healing potion, which will also dispel the debuff, but the easiest way to evade it is not to allow her to hit you in the first place. Ability wise, Kharabak does not have too many abilities for a tier 4 behemoth. They are also relatively easy to notice and to evade. As mentioned earlier, you can check my in-depth abilities guide on Kharabak in the link below or in the upper right corner, but let's briefly talk about them now. The two abilities you will mostly have to deal with are her Scissor Strikes and Tail Swipe. Both are easy to spot and to evade. You need to roll in her direction when she faces you to do them. If you're doing her solo, you don't need to be careful for the initial swing of the Tail Swipe, since she pulls it the opposite of the swing direction before actually swiping. But have that in mind when doing her in a group. Her slam ability is somewhat strange, the reason being that if she targets you with it and does it, 9 out of 10 times you don't even need to move in order to evade it. I do not know if that is intentional or not, but I have had many times where I roll to evade and instead roll into her hit radius instead of simply staying in one place. But you have to test this and see it for yourself in the first place to understand it. She has a long range ability, which we call Wind Blades. You can notice her doing this ability when she flies away from you, lands and raises her claws. The Wind Blades can either be rolled through, attacked, or just sprinted out of their trajectory, since it's a straight line. Finally, for her Pendulum Strikes ability, you should be evading by rolling into her rather to the side, because it is like a pendulum and the hit radius is definitely wider than it's longer. Kharabak, unlike other behemoths, has 3 phases which can again happen at the same time. The first one is Swarm. When she does this, she will release other bugs around her and cause you to get a debuff. The bugs will not allow you to attack with slower attacks and also prevent charge attacks like the axe ones. They will also occasionally interrupt combos and deal damage to you. You can remove them from you by attacking. Even if you do not hit Kharabak, you will always hit the bugs on you and they take a maximum of 5-6 hits to get off. If you're doing her in a group, someone else can also hit the bugs on you and remove them. Her second phase is her enrage phase, in which she goes by turning invisible. Now, she's not completely invisible, but definitely very hard to notice. This causes her to be very dangerous, since you have to pay extra attention in order to see what ability she's going to do. The most dangerous part, however, is when she goes out of enrage. She will track a single player for a few seconds, then follow up with a strike, which deals a huge amount of damage. My advice is to learn her timing and to wait just before she freezes for the strike and roll towards her to evade it. Sprinting out of hit range is also an option. Finally, her ether mode is activated by making her wings grow doubles and her whole body glowing with her blue color. When in this phase, she will have an extra long range ability. When she does the ability, she will fly towards a given player while at the same time keeping her claw down to the ground. This ability can change its trajectory a bit, so try to evade it at the last moment just before she reaches you. Killing Kharabak and destroying all of her body parts can be a little tricky. Getting part damage bonus stats will greatly help you in doing this, but it is not completely impossible to do it without them. You can destroy her head, claws and tail for drops, and you can also destroy her legs for extra staggering. All body parts will drop Kharabak chitin. The head has a chance to drop a skull shell and a rare chance to drop a cracked incisor. The claws have a chance to drop a splintered chitin and a rare chance to draw a blade claw tip. The tail has a chance to drop vestigial claw and a rare chance to drop a scaly chitin. Kharabak's armor has no resistance or weaknesses, and it has the most pure armor resistance from all in tier 4, with a 280 resistance at base level and 360 max level resistance when you upgraded all pieces to +4. Same as other tier 4 behemoths, all the gear from Kharabak can be upgraded to +4. The sword, chain blades and war pike from Kharabak give you Blade Storm stat bonus. Blade Storm stat gives you a +5 part damage on hit at 1 point and +40 part damage on hit combined with a 400 part damage buff attack after a perfect dodge at 6 points. The hammer from Kharabak will restore 30 stamina after reloading a shell, and the axe from Kharabak will deal 200 extra damage with combo finishers. The helmet from Kharabak will give you endurance stat bonus. Endurance increases your maximum stamina by 5 at 1 point and by 50 at 6 points. The chest, legs and arms from Kharabak all give you Blade Storm stat, the same as the sword, chain blades and war pike weapons. As of the current build, Kharabak does not have a lantern, but should one appear in the future, I will update you on its abilities. As the final behemoth in tier 4, I would recommend getting her armor maxed out before facing your next opponent in tier 5. Currently, when you go into tier 5, you do not have any specific route or quest forcing you to go for a given behemoth first. You get access to all of them at once. The problem lies in what behemoths will be available for you when you enter tier 5, since they rotate each week. You only get 4 of them each week from 7 total. In those numbers, I'm not counting the heroic versions, which I have decided to call tier 6, and also Rezakari and Shroud, which are again the hardest ones I have put in a tier 7, but this will be explained in detail in an upcoming video after open beta hits this week. This was everything regarding Kharabak and her encounter. I hope that everyone had an easy and fast battle with her, and I also hope you enjoy the rest of my fight against her. Remember to check out my Kharabak abilities guide video, which is in the description down below, as well as my other behemoth solo and abilities videos on my channel. Thumbs up this video if you have liked it, found it useful or it helped you in some way. Comment on it if you want to say hi, give me a friendly advice, tell me what I did wrong or give any other form of criticism. Share it as you see fit. And lastly, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitch for more Dauntless content.